I'm Oisin Murphy. You're watching Channel 18. Oh hi, more icing.
You are one of the rising stars in British racing. You have won lots of Group 2s recently, especially you're now the retained jockey for Qatar Racing. You're the #1 jockey for them. When you received the big job like that, how do you feel?
I was obviously delighted to get promoted from second jockey to first jockey. I started out last year as second jockey behind Andrea Zini, and then this year I began as first jockey. And thankfully it went well. We had lots of winners, some big winners, and you know, I'm privileged to be in the position I'm in.
Do you think it's a little bit too early for you or too young for you to accept a big job like that, because you should have ridden a lot of potential stadium prospects for them? Do you feel a little bit stressful?
No, I'm quite relaxed about it. I rode in the Epsom Derby when I was 18, still an apprentice. Yeah. So I've ridden in lots of group races, and I've suffered a lot of defeat, so I know how to take the good days and the bad days. And you know, as a jockey you have ups and downs, and you have to take both of them as best you can. And Qatar, they understand racing. Sheikh Fahd understands horses don't always win, so I don't feel any pressure. To be in a position like that is what jockeys dream about. So, you know, with that, I'm very privileged.
What brings you to quit the school and move to the racing industry?
I finished my second level education, so I did my leaving cert, so I could have went on to university. But I wanted to be a show jumper through my childhood. And when I was about 14 or 15, I started riding racehorses for my uncle, who is a jumps trainer. His name is Jim Cullity. And I just got bitten by the bug. I got ran away with a few times, the horses ran off with me, and you get a feeling that's like nothing else. There's a bit, you know, you can just, when you're out of control, you can't replace that feeling. And then I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a jockey, and my uncle sent me to Aidan O'Brien's. So I spent 5 months there, and kind of the end of the summer, winter time, October 2012, we sat down and tried to work out my future. And it was Aidan and Jim's idea that I should go to Andrew Balding, because there's racing every day in the UK, there's lots of race meetings, there's lots of trainers, there's more opportunity. In Ireland, lots of good jockeys, they only race 3 or 4 times a week, very difficult to make it. So they sent me to Andrew Balding's, and thankfully I had my first rides in May 2013, and it went from there.
In June that year, you already obtained your first winner. And then 3 months later, you even just land a 4-timer and win an IDE Gold Cup, right?
My first ride for Andrew Balding was a winner, but I have my license 2 weeks before my first ride for Andrew, and I have 12 outside rides, no winner. So, you know, you start to think, will I ever ride a winner? But then once I had one, it started to get going. My agent got me lots of rides. And my breakthrough day that season was Ayr Gold Cup. I had 4 rides, 4 winners. And then 2 weeks later at Doncaster, I had 3 rides, 3 winners. So it took off that season. But when you're an apprentice and you have a claim, you're very valuable to trainers. As you begin to lose your claim, it becomes more difficult.
You left home at 14 and joined your uncle Jim, as you mentioned, and how influenced Jim in your life?
He calls me every second day. Since I've been to Hong Kong, he speaks to me all the time. He watches all my races on the website, and he's a huge influence. He's always there at the end of the phone. He comes racing every now and then, but he watches nearly all my races. He's like a second father figure. I have my parents and I have him as well, so I'm very lucky.
you learn everything in his stable, and he's the 3-time Chatham Gold Cup winner, and he's your idol, I can say.
Yeah, I suppose in a way he is. As a child, jump racing in general, is very big in Ireland. Ireland is a small country, only 5 million people, but nearly everyone knows the best jockeys, the best horses. It's a huge sport. And you know, Jim was on television every weekend winning big races, and as a child, you know, you take a lot of pride in that. And for him to be part of my career as he has been fantastic. He's made all my career choices, you know. It was his idea to send me to Aidan O'Brien's, where I rode, you know, a Derby winner in all his track work.
Oh, ruler of the world?
Yeah. And then between Aidan and Jim, they sent me to Andrew Bolden, and that was the beginning of everything.
Yes.
When I got offered the Qatar Racing second jockey job, it was Jim's idea to take it. And once, when I took that job, I dreamed of being number one, but I never thought it would happen. Never within 1 year, you know, maybe 5 years down the line. But there's a saying in England, second jockey never becomes first jockey. And as a rule, that's correct. Very rare it happens. So I have a lot to thank Sheikh Fahd for.
Then from the UK, and then you moved to Australia for some time, right?
Yeah. So Andrew decided, instead of me riding on the all-weather during the off-season, the winter season in the UK, I should go to Danny O'Brien in Melbourne. In England, you ride out your claim after 95 winners. And your winners everywhere in the world count towards that claim. So it's important to protect it. So then in January and February, my last 2 months in Australia, I just rode, you know, in city races. So hard to get winners, but better experience. I found the track work in the mornings very different. Obviously, same here. You time everything. I don't use a beeper, and I try to just use my head. And then when I ride in races, I know how fast I'm going. I think if you use a beeper, you depend on the beeper. So you may get half a second out, 1 second out, but I think I'm never more than half a second out. Maybe I am, but I don't think so. I watch all the track work on the website, and I find I'm quite close. So, you know, it's good experience, the best experience of my life so far, but I think Hong Kong could be better again.
On 7th of June 2014, as an apprentice, you have the chance to take part in the Epsom Derby. You're riding at Dunlop's horse called Galileo. So how do you feel?
A little bit excited, but no expectation.
Came fifth.
Yeah, the horse was owned by Ronnie Akuli.
Yes.
And I was very grateful for him to give me the ride. And I just rode him to finish as well as he could, and he ran a cracker, and I was delighted, and he was very happy. And it was a day I'll never forget. My mother came, and then I think the next race I win, and then I go to Lingfield for a second meeting, and I ride 2 winners. But I think, honestly, I believe the only reason I win on those horses was because I was so confident after getting Red Galileo to finish 5th, you know? Nobody expected him to run so well.
Everything came quite smooth for you during your riding career. So what's your strength? Why you are better than others? Why I have to ask my owner to support you? What's the reason behind?
Maybe I'm not better than others. Maybe I'm just luckier. Maybe I work harder. You know, hard work will exceed talent over a long period of time. Many of the best jockeys aren't necessarily the most talented, but they may be the ones that think about it the most. Whether it's a good or a bad thing, Ian, I find it very difficult to switch off from racing.
At a young age, I read an interview that you already want to be an international jockey.
The beauty of being a flat jockey is you can ride all over the world. You know, I grew up watching and admiring Kieran Fallon, and he's ridden all over the world. He won an arc for André Fabre on Monjou. He got on a French horse in a French country, and he's an Irish jockey. Very hard thing to do. Mick Kinnan, very successful in Hong Kong. He's an Irish jockey. It's an opportunity to travel, to experience different things, to meet different people. Since I've been here, and I've only been here a short time, I find the people of Hong Kong are passionate about racing. They understand racing, and they've welcomed me, you know, second to none. People have treated me very well. And as a child, I don't know, I just dreamed about going different places, winning big races in Dubai. I was lucky to do that last year. I was lucky to win some decent races in Australia. Now I want to win some decent races in Hong Kong.
Everybody knows that you're just like you're intelligent, you're a rising star, but not too many people that you love in other sports. Judo, right?
I did a lot of judo as a child. There was a club in my town of Killarney. My friends were going to judo, so I went as well. But I was very light for my age, so I was able to compete at like 33 kilo, 36 kilo against children way younger than me. So I have huge advantage. So I did that for a few years, and then I didn't have time. I had to concentrate on racing.
I find a very funny picture on the internet, and then I think lots of females racing fans will be really surprised with a naked handsome boy on a horseback. Can you tell us what are you doing at that time?
Are you trying to find me Hong Kong girlfriend?
I tried to find a owner for you.
Yeah, I tell you, the horse
used to get naked all the time.
Yes, yeah. The horse is very mad, so they need me to ride him. There's a magazine in England called London Sports Magazine.
Yes.
And they pick athletes like Andy Murray, Frank Lampard.
Yes.
And it's for charity.
Yes.
And it's called Uncensored. The photo shoot is uncensored.
Yes.
So the athlete gets naked and does some shoots for that sport, and it's for charity. So the money they raise from the photo shoot goes to certain charity.
Thank you very much, Justin.
Thanks.